Good morning. Welcome to our 6 a.m. Pacific time moment of contemplation and spiritual mind treatment. I'm Edward Fillion, and I'm using with you 365. It's a year-long guide of daily inspiration from our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes. And it's wonderful to see you joining on from all the different places: Portland, Oakland, Eugene, Oregon, Santa Rosa, Las Vegas, Morristown, New Jersey, Visalia, Pennsylvania. It's wonderful to imagine us being connected this way. This morning's reading, and I'm using the Kindle version of 365 so I can see it nice and brightly in the early morning hours. April 18th begins with a quote from the book of Revelation, which is the last book in the Christian Bible. And it's quite a difficult book as far as I'm concerned to understand, filled up with imagery and references that seem obscure to me in understanding. Verse 8 says, "I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, saith the Lord, which is, which was, and that is to come, the Almighty," which resembles phrases from the book of Isaiah, a prophetic book in the Jewish Testament, where God describes itself as the beginning and the end also. And so this quote is setting the tone for us, where Dr. Holmes describes the Almighty too. So let's get settled and perhaps breathe a little to hear these words, and as you hear them, you might find yourself elaborating on the words yourself, or changing them, or going off in a different direction, and that's all wonderful. That's the purpose of our time together, for us to get into our exploration of the divine, to settle into that, so the thoughts, the considerations we have this hour stay with us further into the day. I heard from my colleagues in Europe, the 6 a.m. time is more like 3 p.m. in the afternoon. And it's wonderful that we're joined across time zones also. Here is the reading. The divine is the substance of all things, and the law of all things. And within this divinity there is eternal movement and eternal freedom. The divine is the stream of life, and it runs through all creation. It is forever purifying and renewing everything. It's doing everything all the time. Today, through this contemplation, I am letting go of any loyalty to a sense of constriction or limitation, and I'm sitting with this idea that I am carried forward on this stream of life. So I'm mindfully letting go of anything that will hold me back from experiencing this, which I call good. And even if a new obstacle arises, I'm going to remember this moment in contemplation so that I can mentally let myself be carried through it, around it. I'm not denying that there are blocks and hindrances. I'm remembering to stay with the flow of life. So today I'll keep in my awareness that the divine is my source. That's where my life comes from. The divine is what creates me. And so I'm accepting that fullness, the fullness that comes from the idea that I'm in the divine. The divine is in me and around me. Today, I mindfully remember to accept that with gladness. I'm an expression of the divine. The divine expresses itself through me in this life. And that's why I say that I inherit the qualities of the divine, its beingness, its grace. I possess that. And so today I'm going to consciously be aware of that so I can express it. And so I think about that presence within me, this divine life, with gratitude and with a blessing in my mind. I'm going to stay with that today, so much so that I think of myself as being primarily and only spirit expressing. And as such, when I encounter the things that face humanity in myself and around me, I can face that with compassion. Most humankind, well, we are what we are, but as I travel through the day to day, I'm staying with the idea that I am, like everybody else around me, I am spirit expressing. So I flow today with everything that is. I live today with an attitude of love, remembering that I don't create love, that love exists. That's why I call it divine love. And I don't mean affection. I mean more than that. I mean that thing within me that is able to embrace all that is, compassionately include. That within me, the divine love, is what guides me. The reading says impels me, makes me move towards that which is good and true and just. And it's that within me which causes me to make right decisions about my well-being, about my health, about what food I put into my body. And it is that within me which prompts me towards activities that are wholesome and creative, joy-filled, and that cause me to be embraced the whole full spectrum of being human. And the reading, it says, I decide to be joyful instead of sad. I say that love within me causes me to embrace the whole spectrum of my joy and my sadness. I have no fear of sadness. I accept that within me is this perfect love. It's the expression of the divine, and I accept it with a whole heart. And I accept that love fulfills itself through me, satisfies itself through me. And that is how I experience the divine as real in my life. And now I'm on the lookout to discover the reflection of love in everything that concerns me today. Today I keep in mind I have immediate access to the love that is the divine. It is the beginning and the end of everything about me. It is the power and the energy of the universe itself. It is all that is. And so in prayer I say there is only one power, the divine. It is the source of everything, that all that is. I think of it as delighting in creation, in all that is, expressing itself in joy. This divine one is present where I am. It is the life that I am. It is the love that I am. It is the wisdom that I am. And as this is true for me, it is true for everyone. The beloved one expresses itself in and through me and through each person. And by way of this spiritual mind treatment, I'm aligning my thought consciously and subconsciously with the idea of being in the flow of life, that which is the beginning and the end. And in the flow of life, I feel a renewed sense of sharing and expansion and clarity as I dwell today upon the interconnectedness of all things, the interdependence of all things, and how from that diversity flourishes while our sense of oneness remains the same. With this renewed and expanded clarity, I recognize the desire to live in peace and in harmony, not only for me, but for people everywhere. And so I declare that this renewed and expanded sense of peace exists within the heart of every being. And that with this prayer, it is being brought forward, announcing itself, being recognized by itself through all humankind. Today I'm filled with a quiet and grateful acceptance of this awareness through prayer. And I'm confident in the spiritual laws, the spiritual law of mind that responds to this our contemplation and makes it so. And so it is. Thank you so much for being with me this morning, for being with us this morning. And thank you in advance for those of you who share this broadcast. And I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. And I'm going to sit here for a moment in quiet, and I encourage you to do the same thing, to let the contemplation, well, I think of it as dropping deep roots into me. Have a blessed day.